I grew up in Sydney, where as a bushwalker I couldn't help but fall over in the national parks, things like axe grinding grooves and loads of rock art and red hand caves and middens, you name it. And I had to ask myself, where do the people go? And I just wanted to mention, I've just read Stan Grant's book, Talking to My Country, in which he says that despite being a successful TV presenter for many media organisations, that he doesn't have much of an inheritance to give to his kids. And my point here is that the inheritance of Indigenous people got ripped off them. Okay, some are lucky to get some land, and okay, in the Northern Territory we've had the Land Act, Aboriginal Land Rights Act, and otherwise around Australia you've got the native title legislation, which basically it doesn't affect ownership, it's all about use of land and not ownership. And so they can negotiate with the owner for ceremonial use and other uses. Here I just want to say, I think the question of, and here I should also add that growing up in Sydney, I imbibed in all the radical actions for Aboriginal people. I've been in the bicentenary on the water, protesting with Lyle Munro at Ms Macquarie's chair, and you name it, was on the water in Botany Bay when the second enactment fleet came in, and on the Harbour Bridge in 2000, etc. And I marched with the left contingent, which had a banner, no justice, no peace. Basically, I think the issue of treaty still remains. You can see New Zealand has one. A lot of the British officers who came to Australia were the convicts, Governor Arthur Phillip, etc., had been involved in the British campaigns in Canada against the French and had done treaties with the Indian people of Canada and what would become the United States. So they knew full well what they were doing, and they also had colonial instructions from London to treat the inhabitants fairly, which was simply trampled on. So I just raised this as an issue and as an ongoing issue. And by the way, I also want to make a point about culture. Recently I went out to Mungo National Park, where I went with a guy from I can't remember the tribe's name from the river, who took us around on the dune, at the south end of which they found the 40,000-year-old skeletons of Mungo man and Mungo woman. I think Australians have to come to grips with that history, that amazing ability to handle climate change, through an ice age, and also the culture itself. Even in South Africa they're coming to grips with culture. And the last thought is, lest we forget that apartheid South Africa checked out in the 40s our past laws that kept Aboriginal people on their reservations.
Thank you very much for that. Did anyone